Thanks again for staying with us on the show this morning on ITV as we get our conversation segment on course. In the build up to the 2023 election, a whole lot is happening, and the onus is on Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, the umpire, to live up to expectations. So far, so good. They've been doing that in terms of voters' registration, which came to a close on the 1st of July. Expectations are high that INEC will again live up to expectations to ensure that the number of people that have registered so far will have access to their PVCs before the election. But recently there's been calls that INEC should open the space again for more people to register, against the background that in spite of the windows opened so far, not many people were able to register. There were some who didn't want to register but just needed to have a change of their voting centers. They got a slip from INEC, but they couldn't complete the transfer process before the window ended. So reactions and counter reactions are coming forward, as always the case. I have with me to look at this wide range of issues a politician, public affairs commentator, engineer Fidelis Esegbe. Many thanks for joining us, Phil.
Thank you this morning. Thank you, viewers.
Good to have you join me. How are you doing?
Same. I'm fine.
Okay. The 2023 election is gearing up. What do you look forward to the most as far as the election is concerned? Is it the campaign, or what is it that you look forward to the most?
Yeah, thank you, viewers, this morning. The 2023 elections is something that at this moment I'm still shocked about.
You're shocked?
Yeah, little did I know that the awareness of Nigerians and participation in democracy has risen this far. Everybody wants to know who gets what. Everybody is involved, both in the cities and even in the villages. People are now beginning to say, I can now vote my choice and my conscience. People are now beginning to say that my votes can no longer be directed by an individual. People are beginning to understand that the days of snatching ballots is far over. People are beginning to understand that INEC has actually woken up to their responsibilities. People now understand that power belongs to the people. And the politicians, if I must tell you, and I must confess that they are also very afraid that it is no longer business as usual. That the people needed to be convinced and carried along to get a majority of the vote. It is also not in doubt that the present Electoral Act, which shut a lot of the National Assemblies out from participating in the primaries and even getting back their tickets, is also a very wide range and a score point for the INEC. And the voting process where you vote, when you are accredited, immediately you vote and it's transmitted, is also a very big fear to those who believe that at every point in time they can cajole the people and get to the seat of power. Now they are sitting tight and they are beginning to ask Nigeria to vote for them. And I think it's a welcome development.
Fantastic. I like this opening lines. But in your opinion, this seeming resurgence of interest in the electoral process, particularly for 2023, what would you say is responsible? The seeming resurgence on the part of the electorate?
It is just basically on simple issues, economic factors, tired some of old political parties, the PDP and the APC, which are the major political parties in Nigeria. People just want a change. I'm of the APC, no doubt. But I just see that people want a change. A
change from where to where, from what to what?
Just believing that we have tasted this, we have tasted it, let's go to this. But again, I am afraid where they are also clamoring for, whether APP or whatever party, if it's going to be better. If you look at those who are also players in these very political parties, are those who eventually moved from either this party to the other party. So it is just a case of 6.5 dozen. It's the same thing.
Okay.
So, but I just feel that those Nigerians who, again, are not students of history, who have not followed up, maybe they just joined the political history in this Fourth Republic. Even in the Fourth Republic, maybe they joined this recently. They are distorting the history, believing that there is a man who stands out there who will be better than the man who has been there. So up until the institutions are working, like the INEC is working now, you can now see that staggered election can be won by opposition parties. So it is not actually about the people. It is not about the party. The institutions should be working. If there are working institutions in Nigeria, when you leave this your system here now, and another man comes and sits, he logs in and starts from where you stop. When the institutions are working. So for me, the clamoring from moving from one party to the other for the purpose of good governance is not the key thing. It is making the Nigeria institution work, and who can make it work.
Fantastic. If you just joined us, it's TMI Monday, and today on the show, just reviewing some of the developments in the build-up to the 2023 election. My guest here is Engineer Fidelis Esegbe, who is a member of the APC. We'd expected another dude to join the conversation, but we hope he gets here on time. Okay, let's quickly talk about the registration exercise. It's been massive so far, at least with the data coming from INEC. The cause that INEC should extend registration again, is this a welcome development, or we should allow at least INEC to perfect all that they have done, make the voting cards ready, make the voters register ready before the election?
You see, again, Nigerians are very, very funny. This is called continuous voters registration. I am just shocked why they suddenly wake up now and they are putting pressure on the portal of the INEC. This registration has been on even before the electionary processes. I remember that my voter's card was defaced. I simply traveled home and approached the INEC. There was no pressure then. And I was captured. Now, they are putting multiple pressure on the system.
Maybe because you are a party chieftain, so yeah.
They are putting too much pressure on the system. And when that happens, the possibility of chunking out these millions of voters' cards will be another problem. But if the people wants INEC, for me, wants INEC to extend the dates for registration, if I was the INEC chairman, I will come out and address Nigeria that we can still open the portal. But do not expect a certain percentage of this voters' card
to be ready before the election.
Besides, it's called permanent voters' card. It is not 2023 voters' card. So if you don't have it before the 2023, you can use it subsequently.
Okay.
So let them clear the air. And when Nigerians say, okay, please open it up, we want to get it, fine. Let them continue. They have staff, their staffs are paid, they are government workers. So they are always in their local government offices. Let them open it up and let Nigerians choose either to get the already registered one ready for the 2023 elections, or INEC should open and print those ones that they can print before the 2023 elections. But I feel that for everybody, like this BVN and others, NIM and others, it has all been there. Nigerians will not just go until when there is an issue where it is needed. Imagine a lot of people went to approach the NIM office because of the ban on SIM registration.
Yeah.
And once you start putting pressure on our system like that, of course, you know that this system are computers. They are not human beings. Even human beings, they break down.
Yeah.
So Nigerians should take advantage of every growing system. Don't just wait till there is an issue before you go. But I feel that Nigerians should allow INEC concentrate on the over 10 million voters that have been registered and see if that can make a difference.
There are those who feel that it's not the people, the prospective voters who were daily besieging INEC registration centers to register. They're not the ones putting pressure on INEC, but rather it's INEC that is putting pressure on the electorate, because this is something that has been budgeted for based on the presentations of INEC, that this is what we want to do preparatory to the election. So if at any time that you have a surge of voters, is INEC not supposed to be prepared for this kind of situation?
You will be prepared for what you envisaged. Typical Nigerians. Normally, in the build-up of any election, INEC will open registration. They have never seen this kind of rush.
Yeah.
So they use what is called baseline. Probably last year we did 30. This year, if it is too much, we'll be doing 50. Now they are going into multiplicity of it.
Yeah.
So I think, for me, INEC is not putting pressure on the people. The people are putting pressure on INEC. I am also seeing this NGO who are struggling, dragging INEC from here to another place. I actually may be working for one political party or the other. Because if INEC is forced to open the portal again, and they deploy their energy to registering people instead of trying to process the new voters' cards, because some people believe that some of these group of persons who are registering now, the vote belongs to a certain group of persons or one person. It's not true. But then again, I feel that INEC has the capacity to produce as at when due. But if not, it is called permanent voters card, not 2023 voters card. INEC can continue in the process of registration while they divide maybe capacity to produce parts, and if others could not come out before the 2023, they can later produce. There are other staggered elections. Governorship election in Edo State is coming 2025 after 2023.
Yeah.
So it must not be for the 2023 election.
So is that a justification for the continuation of the exercise? Like you said, is continuous voters registration. At this not, I mean, what you said, is it not enough justification for INEC to continue with the registration?
Oh yes, it is enough justification. But INEC should sit with the stakeholders and make them understand the implication if they have to continue. They have to sit with the stakeholder. INEC is working for Nigerians. They are being paid with Nigerian tax money. So they should sit down and talk to Nigerians and say, let's look at the card, put them on the table, fix them up. Let's choose. The Nigerians will choose. The NGOs, the stakeholders will sit with them and agree on something. So whichever way it goes, fine.
The concerns of major stakeholders is that the biggest threat to the 2023 election is insecurity. Do you subscribe to this?
Insecurity. Insecurity was one of the matters used by the present administration in 2015 to get to Aso Rock, that they were going to deal with insecurity. Then I think since the system failed in it, it has become endemic. That even in my local village, it's difficult to walk around. People can no longer go to their farms. But you see, these politicians are very sensitive to issues. I can assure you that the level of insecurity will drop within September to March next year.
Will drop?
Yes, it will drop.
Why are you anticipating that?
I am telling you because they also need to be voted for. When an insurgent, terrorism lasts for more than 2 years, stakeholders are involved. Because these persons are not faceless persons. So you will see that the level of insecurity will drop. People will campaign. People will come out to vote. Then thereafter, after a decision will be taken. Terrorism organization is either political or economical. It depends on which side it's coming from. And people are controlling it. So it depends on the side with which it's coming from. If it is political, and this group of people are able to push their persons into power, it means that they can begin to discuss and the level of insecurity will begin to drop. If it's economical, then they know what they're asking for. If the economic system is better, we can now begin to talk about a shift again in the insecurity. But I can tell you that 2023 elections, there will be heavy participation of Nigerians. Voter apathy will drop, and Nigerians will chunk out votes without fear of insecurity.
I've heard people say that Nigerians are more interested in the presidential election than any other election, whether National Assembly, state houses of assembly, or maybe governorship election. Does this make any sense to you?
It is very funny, and laughable, because the president is even different from the presidency. And the National Assembly makes the law for the executive to implement. if you are not interested in who goes to the market to buy the food condiments, and you want to eat a good food, Nigerians should be interested in every election. We just believe that it is only the president that drives the economy. Once the economy is bad, the president, Mr. President, is bad. It's not true. There are times where the National Assembly had heard the president at the jugular without passing some bills that he sent. So it is not about the president. It is about the presidency and the entire legislative arm of government. Now, the Senate, Reps, Assembly, Governor, and Presidents, they are coming up. And we are only concerned about the president. If we now have a good president and have bad lawmakers, if we have a good president and have bad lawmakers who do not like the face of the president, what happens? His eyes have it, they will throw him away. And it's true. And the president himself needs to know people who will appoint to become the commissioner, the IG of police, and others who can work with him. If the president is just standing alone, he doesn't know these people. The IG of police can even withdraw his this thing tactically, he will not know. So the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria should be somebody who has reasonable spread across the country, such that it will wake him up in the middle of the night and say, Jigawa State, who do you think is one of the best journalists there? The person should be able to say something. And wake him up at the late hours of the night, say, who is the best accountant in Edo? The person should be able to say it. It's not just one man being loved by people, and you want to just be the president. You are going to eventually appoint bad people in your cabinet who will, and have bad lawmakers.
Yeah.
A man who is ready for election should be able to say that if I get there, I want to have this person as the Accountant General of Nigeria because of this person's antecedent. I want to have this person who has experiences in lawmaking so that the legislative arm will be balanced. I want to have an Attorney General who is proven with integrity. All of these, you must put them together because you as the president, you are just a clearinghouse. You are just signing documents, and people are preparing these documents. I can tell you why the National Assembly, a lot of them didn't return. They didn't read the Electoral Act because they consulted it to people. So when they got to the house, they were just saying, clause by clause consideration, the ayes have it, the ayes have. Before they woke up in the building of the primary, they discovered that they cannot even vote. They didn't know. So what I'm saying is that the president most times doesn't do the bulk job. What he does is to clear.
Yeah.
So the president is not a person. The Nigerians should be concerned about all elections.
Okay. Now, I picked something from your analysis. Here we are with a president who seems to have everything that he wanted to do, everything working together for him. He needed a National Assembly, so to speak, that will be under his control. He got it. Unlike the last National Assembly, under the leadership of Senator Bukola Saraki, that was a bit toxic. But this time, he had a hold on the National Assembly. Some have described the National Assembly as a yes, sir kind of National Assembly because every bill, every motion, anything Mr. President wanted, they gave him all the needed support. He also had the luxury of choosing and picking people and appointing people that he told us he knew so well in the security agencies, in the ministries, departments, and agencies. And yet, we are where we are today. So, the buck stops at the stable. And so, if people are more interested in the presidency than any other thing, I don't think this is misplaced.
I will start from 1999 again when Chief Olusegun Obasanjo became president. We have always had presidents who are actually not ready to become president. You know how Olusegun Obasanjo came. You knew how the late Yar'Adua came, of blessed memory.
Yes.
You knew how Jonathan came. Of course, President Muhammadu Buhari had already retired to Daura. when he was arrested to become president.
No, but he had contested 3 times.
He had contested and
yes, so one should
international
expect
press that he was tired. He didn't want to do again.
He had contested 3 times.
At that time, he has lost the fabrics. And of course,
so at the time he was not ready to be.
No. And the system.
But he could have declined to say, look, when I had the momentum to get this job done.
That is the factor of human again.
Yes, so why did he decline?
The possibility of winning was there. The little chunk that he brought from CPC was just that steady 11 to 10 million vote that he was maintaining then. And another ethnic group came and said, okay, fine, we can bring this and bring this to the table. And that becomes a mixture of salt and water and oil. Majority of his cabinets, he doesn't know them, I'm telling you. Somebody controls majority of his cabinet, or some group of persons control majority of his cabinets. So at that point, the man lost compass in economy, lost compass in security, and lost compass in a lot of things, and was just watching. The certain group of cabal hijacked the system. Some hijacked the National Assembly, some hijacked the presidency. So everybody was just doing this. Once you have your own way, you just cut it, you are just doing it, and the man is watching. So he lost control totally over everything. Because the interest was not about his election. The interest is about 2023. Because there was an agreement in APC that when this block of this party finishes, it comes to another block of this party. That is where we have the Enilokan today. And you don't need to blame anybody. It was an agreement. But I think that it will be better in 2023.
Okay, now, in responding to that, I'd like to get your take on the odds being against the ruling party in the country in the 2023 elections. Do you think the odds are against the ruling party?
Oh, no. You see,
the odds is against the ruling party? I
will not agree on that. I will not agree on that. I'll give you like 3 analyses, you see. The All Progressives Party, APC, is a party that have maintained a certain level of, I don't want to use the word structure. Once people hear structure now, they'll say, I say, Obi not get structure. They have maintained a certain level of structure across the entire federation, such that even in the unit they have unit ESCOs.
Okay.
Even in the unit, they have unit chairman, unit vice chairman, unit secretary, unit treasurer, in the unit. From the unit to the ward ESCOs. From the ward ESCOs to the AGA, just like that to the national. That suggests again that for everybody who is working in the unit, has been promised that if we win, you will either be a supervisory councillor or a this. And that person will in turn go back home to tell his people, his assemblies, say, as we suffer for this family, now you like them. If we win, they will make me supervisory councillor. The person will come say, brother, now because of you, I want to do them. That is why you see, the obedience movement may not be 2023. It could be somebody else. It could be any other thing. But it's a very, very welcome development. It's an eye-opener that the tides can change anytime. So the odds is actually not against the ruling party. Elections are not held on social media. We were somewhere yesterday, we just did a little drama of those, they were more than us who were obedient. But in an attempt to check if they even have voters card, we discovered some of them, they still have piece of paper, which we don't know if it will come out, while some had not even registered at all. But these 2 political parties, the PDP and the DCC, they have been gladiators and players of the game.
Yeah.
Some of them have the PVCs of their relation kept in their cupboard. They will just come home to the village and they bring them and say, you take your own, you take your own, you take your own. So I think the 2023 election is going to further revolutionize Nigeria into another general election.
The thinking is that politicians just think about themselves and themselves alone, forgetting that in the political space, it is not only the political parties, the politicians, that hold sway. For example, if you're talking about the votes cast, the vote is a mixed grill. You have the votes of the card-carrying members of political parties. You have the votes of the non-card-carrying members of political parties. So, the outcome of an election is a mixture of these votes. So what do you make of that scenario? In terms of the odds that I talked about.
Okay.
Yes.
You started by saying that it is believed or it is seen that politicians are all very selfish.
Mm-hmm.
It is natural with human beings.
Okay.
Even though you are the owner of this ITV now, if an opportunity comes, I want to take before you.
Okay.
It's natural. That's just natural. Then, concerning the vote, I think political party players are either 5, 6, 7% of the entire 100% of the general voters. But this person has positioned themselves in such a way that they have a way of controlling other person's votes. You know, when a man is dependent, imagine I am paying somebody's school fees. I'm paying 4 children's school fees, and they live in my house. They can be obedient in school. On that day, when I put them in my car and we are going to the polling unit, I will tell them what to vote. 4 votes have left obedient, or PDP, or whatever.
Yeah.
So what I mean is that those 5% are structured in a way that they have the capacity to, for majority of those people who are shouting the change today, 70% are dependent at that youth level.
Okay.
15% are those who are either offended in this party or in this party. It is only about 5%.
That are the core politicians, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so
yeah.
you discover that at the end of the day, votes will be directed. I am afraid that we have not grown to an extent in Nigeria where somebody will just wake up from the morning and vote through his phone independently.
Yeah. But we'll get there.
But you also need not to be hungry to take such decisions.
Yeah.
Like Nancy Pelosi has been in the house for how many years now?
Maybe 30-something years.
30-something, the 19th time. You know why? The people are not hungry. They don't care who is there. But in my constituency, you want to do a second term, it's a problem. We will look for everything to push you out. But if you manage to do a second term, you can't raise your hand again for a third term. Because I have been hungry and I'm waiting for you to just leave. So when the system...
I want to take my turn.
Yes, I want to take my turn.
Okay.
That again determines how the rich, the bourgeois, controls the votes of the less privileged.
Okay, now we have I don't have the exact figure, but majority of those who have gone out to register now don't belong to political parties.
Yes.
And then, if you're saying the odds are not against your party, for instance, what will be the content of campaign for the APC against the background of the fact that they have been in government? What possibly can be the content of the campaign?
It is not only APC that have been in government. We have had both PDP.
We're using APC for example.
We have had both PDP and APC. The only thing is that the presidency is APC. But the National Assembly, the reps and the red, green and the red chambers, they have mix of political parties there.
Yes.
Now.
But you said a while ago that in the National Assembly, many of them didn't get return tickets.
Oh, yes.
And they didn't even have any role to play in the emergence of candidates. So in a way, technically and tactically, they've been weaned from having influence in the politics of their constituencies in a sense.
MFS, that they didn't have the opportunity to determine who becomes their presidential flag bearer is also they are making and they are undoing. Now, like you said, majority of the people who are voting now do not belong to political parties. Political parties, as crafty as they are, have such a way positioned themselves so that the millions of people who are going out there to vote, they are coming back home to meet one gladiator in one of the families. I'm telling you the truth, sir. They are coming back home to meet one of the persons in the family. My brother, younger brother, is in Abuja shouting obedience. When he comes back home, on the evening of it, I'll tell him, are you aware that if we win Edo State, I'll be commissioner?
And then that's enough for him to...
Oh, yes, because he doesn't want his brother
So when
to...
he's going to vote, will you be there with him in the polling booth?
No, the votes are directed.
Yes.
Why will you be there? You know, I will be there.
Yeah, so it's
illegal for me to be there.
Of course.
But I would have been able to convince him that we can be very
What is the guarantee when he gets to the polling booth, he will do your bidding?
But at least he's going to tell me yes first.
He will tell you yes.
At the moment, he will tell me yes first. You know, so... And out of 10 that tells you here, maybe only 2 will just deviate. And before you know it, votes are directed. And that's it. It's unfortunate, I'm saying, but that's how it works in Nigeria. Vis-a-vis the bad trend of vote buying, the bad trend of vote buying. Nigerians are unable to reject money because it will take them 4 years again to see those hillocks in their village. It will take them another 4 years to see green plate numbers. It will take them another 4 years to see that man gather them kill cow. And whether they take it or not, the man will still not come in another 4 years. So they have no option other than to say, let us just take this.
Is this something we should encourage?
Oh God, I say very bad trend. But I am afraid I do not know how it had to be measured and controlled now. It's a very, very, very bad trend. Very, very bad trend. But the people have just decided that, which one they say, I'm not cuckoo get certificate. I'm not do anything. So once they come this period, I'll collect my own. But a very bad trend. And that happens majorly in the local villages. And that is where a lot of votes are chunked out. Because those who live in the city, a lot of them are comfortable. They might just open their television and they lock their door in their duplex and they are watching with their children.
But there are those who say that's in the past. I mean, if the registration and the efforts to collect PVC is anything to go by, this narrative belongs to the past. You don't...
If the narrative belongs to the past,
yes.
As it has increased in the city, it has also increased in the village times 3.
Mm-hmm.
What do politicians do in the village? They hire vehicle, pack people from their villages for INEC registration. Every registration, a smart politician increases his polling units. But the man in the city who actually left his house alone to vote does not know what the politician is doing in that polling unit. You just take your card and go. Whereas somebody had chartered pickup like 10 times, bring the people to the polling units and they register them. What does that suggest? Maybe at the end of the day, 80% of those registered voters will be subservient to the man who took them and sponsored them for registration. Mm. And that is why I keep saying that the players of the game are the issues. They direct the vote. They are the issue why governance is either good or bad.
All right, on a final note, what's your major takeout from the movement towards 2023 election in terms of participation, in terms of engagement, in terms of involvement, with some of the positives that are coming in from the voter registration exercise, the readiness of INEC and all of that?
I'll take it from the last point, the readiness of INEC. I think I have some certain level of confidence with INEC now, vis the last elections they conducted in some states, where in less than 24 hours, unlike before, results are announced. You know, before the INEC we used to know, maybe 2 days they have not announced results. And the new method of transmission of results from the polling unit directly to a server is also a great improvement in the side of INEC. And we must give them that kudos. And they have also shown some certain level of allowing political parties to do their primaries and send their names. If there's any issue, go to court, sort it out before you come back. You know, they have also allowed that. I think they have improved tremendously. Now, in the rushing out to the 2023 elections, for me, what I think the political parties should do is to articulate their issues, chunk out a workable manifesto, matching it with your revenues, expected revenues. Mm. Don't come and tell us that you are going to build rail from Kaduna to Imo State without telling us where the money will come from. When you make all these promises that you are going to build airports in all the villages in Nigeria, you must also tell us the economic and financial implications, how you can do that. Anybody can just say, these are the issues we want the presidential aspirants to quietly articulate. Put the cards up on the table, face them up. Let the people see.
Some of the presidential aspirants are doing that. Others are not talking about
campaigns have not started, sir.
About what they intend doing.
Campaign have not started.
They may necessarily be campaign, maybe from policy statements and conversations.
When campaign starts, I am very sure that any good politician will chunk out his activities, his manifestos.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. By the time they do it now, they'll be negating. We are just having discussion. They'll be negating the Electoral Act. Once campaign starts, everybody should be able to tell us how much is a barrel of oil now. How much are we generating from oil, from taxation, from this? And this is the probable projection. If we have this, we can invite this to add to this, we can build a ray, we can do this. It is not just to come and we do free education. We don't know. We are past that stage. Okay. We must know how much we have on the table for which we will use to drive the economy.
Fantastic. Engineer Fidelis Isegbe, thank you very much. So this is a delight to have you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
All right, it's still TMI. Beautiful Monday morning. Interesting conversation with Engineer Fidelis Isegbe. We'll take a short break. We'll be bringing you breakfast sports. We'll have a couple of promos for our forthcoming events. And then I'll be back to conclude the discussion segment on the show. Don't go away.